إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions, his family, his companions and his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam his last and final messenger. My dear brothers and sisters, in an industrial city like us, Manchester in United Kingdom, across the ocean from here, young two girls by the name of Salma and Zahra. They're twins, live together, raised in the same house, have very stable life, relatively speaking. In the middle class, they are loved by their parents, and the father came one day in the morning to check on his two little girls who are 16 years old in high school, to check on them, and he found them both gone. And they left a message that they give farewell to their parents, and they both flew to Syria. And was shocking news for the father. What are two 16 years old girls will fly to Syria for? They took the night flight with Turkish Airlines to Turkey. Then after that, they decide to go to Syria. And he started searching, looking into the internet, who they talk to, who they are in relationship with. For the first time, the father even care about looking and checking where is his daughters getting their religious informations and what all their friends are. And he found out that they were promised to be giving into marriage to two warriors from ISIS, from the Islamic State of Syria and Iraq, or Iraq and Syria. And that's why they left their home, they left their country, they left their parents to join that militant group and to be member of that militant group who known today as the Islamic State, who declare that they represent what's known as the Khilaf in the Muslim world. This is just not one incident. Not long time ago, a woman from Houston, Texas, originally, she was also originally from Texas, or a man originally from Texas was caught on the airport, boarding the airplane to go to join that militant group. We all heard about the lady, the two also from Colorado, I think Denver, who was caught trying to join that militant group. It's amazing how many people come and ask, and if they dare, if they are honest enough to come up and to say and to ask so many imams, so many leaders, and talk about their interest to join such group and to move there. There is estimated 10,000 foreign fighters in Syria today, and some even go way more than that. No, let me correct myself. It's estimated 10,000 foreign fighters in Syria today, people who came from different countries, estimated even to 70 different countries. And a good portion of those people are coming from the West, Europe and America. This issue is not anymore an issue that is not really touching our community. It's not something that is not related to our community. Young men ask the question, Sheikh, what do you think of this? What do you think of joining this? What do you think of what they do? Is it correct? Was that right, declaring the Khilafah in Iraq? Is that true that we have to go support it? As a matter of fact, to see how far people went with that. Today, this morning, I was looking at a video clip circulating the internet of 15 or 20 young ladies from Saudi Arabia, completely covered, and making their appeal and their call to the Caliph of the Muslim, al-Baghdadi in Iraq, to come to free Saudi Arabia and to come to conquer Saudi Arabia and to free these women from the tyrant leaders of Saudi Arabia. It just, the person puzzles and became so confused. How can people go that far, or even can go to that extent? And you know what? In the beginning, for a very good amount of time, I thought it's a joke. Nobody has a common sense will ever fall for that. But every day I've been proving wrong. That there is people who really have a question, and they have the right to ask, to question that, even to think for a moment, maybe this is something legit. I know there are so many topics can be covered in Ramadan. I know there are so many issues we can talk about it in Ramadan. But I believe this is one of the most touchy issues that we face as a Muslim Ummah, and we're not immune from it here in Houston or in the West from the influence of that call, especially upon the call to our youth to betray their families, their countries, their deen even, and to join such an extreme group. This, and I'll specifically talk about this militant group, which is known as ISIS, or now became known as IS, I guess, the Islamic State. It started officially 2006 by another man. His name Abu Umar al-Baghdadi. He was killed in 2010. Then the man who lead it today, who claims himself the Khalifa, became in charge of that in 2010. His name is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who used to be member of some militant small groups in Iraq, used to fight the new one, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who used to fight with the small groups here and there in Iraq, fighting the American occupation or the Western occupation of al-Iraq and the loyal government of the government of Iraq at that time. And he basically inherited what is known to so many of you, a movement by the name of Jama'at al-Tawheed wal-Jihad, led by a very extreme person who was killed by the name of Abu Mus'ab al-Zarqawi. Everybody still remember the bloody videos that he used to post, cutting heads of the people and chopping their heads off in front of the camera, and the threat that he used to make. He used to say, "I'm thirsty for your blood, we'll drink your blood," and you need so many very strong statements like this. These groups basically unified under one leadership, and that's what's called the Islamic State of Iraq. And when the war in Syria started, they expanded to Syria. They became the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And I'm not going to go into all these analyzing and speculations and theories. Who's that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is he's a man who made by the intelligent communities, the CIA or the Mossad or the British intelligent community, or he was made by Bashar al-Assad, or all this talk that he was a member, people circulating now that he was even a member of the Ba'ath parties in Iraq, and he's one of the Ba'athi leaders and has nothing to do. I'm not going to go into all this. You can see this yourself on the internet, because that doesn't irrelevant to me. What's so important for me as a student of knowledge, as a sheikh, as a Muslim, is this group truly represent what they stand for? Do it really represent what we call al-jihad fi sabilillah? Do this group really represent what we call al-khilafah al-islamiyya, the Islamic State or the Islamic Caliphate? That's the big question that everybody should ask themselves. And what are they when it comes to their ideologies? What kind of ideologies they carry? What they represent? Who they represent? Because this is not something new. We are very familiar with groups like this through the history of our deen. Number one, we should know that this group, this militant group known as the Islamic State today, They are a militant group claim that they follow the Salafi ideology, and they like to call it a Salafiyya al-Jihadiyya, the militant Salafi group or the Jihadi Salafi group. And in reality, they are not neither Jihadis or Salafi groups, because the jihad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have ordained, the jihad that it is part of our religion as Muslims, it's free from what they claim and what they practice. And the Salafiyya that they claim that they follow, they are the most anti-group to any Salafi group exists. As a matter of fact, they are the one who are willing to kill and start with the Salafi scholars before the Salafi government or groups that exist in the Muslim world. So that claim, it is absolutely false. As a matter of fact, if you really want to put them in the right frame, it is a group who call for fight, and they are more likely to be among what we know in the history as Fikr al-Khawarij. They are part of a group and a movement started so early in the history of Islam known as the Khawarij, the Kharijite. And it is so important for us as Muslims to know about this group, because I have not seen the Prophet ﷺ ever spoke about a group so clearly, in so detailed manners, like the way he talked about the Kharij. He said that there will be 73 different sects appear in the Muslim Ummah. لقد أخبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بافتراق الأمة وكثرة الفرق فيها. لكن ما فصل. He never gave a detailed descriptions. We don't have any authentic ahadith about any group like what we have about the Kharij. And that's absolutely raised a question. Why would the Prophet ﷺ emphasize so much on this particular group? Why the Prophet ﷺ will emphasize so much about this group? Not one, not two, not three, not 10. You can look at even ulama, rahimahumullah, in their books, collections of hadith, they have a chapters, Ba'u Dhikr al-Khawarij. And in it you will find so many ahadith speaking about them in particular. And the reason for that, the reason of that focus, it is because they are the most dangerous group that ever appeared in our history, and it will ever appear in our history. They are more dangerous than the extreme Shia, the extreme Sufis, the extreme groups that you ever think of. They are more dangerous to the Muslim Ummah than any other sect, and there is any other group. So you have to set your priority correct when it comes to counter these ideologies that exist in the world today, which represent Islam. And no doubt they are on the top of our list to counter their argument, to defend Islam from their claims. And the reason for them to be the most dangerous and the most evil actually of all the sects, the deviant sects, number one, لِاشْتِبَاهِ أَمْرِهِمْ, because they are so easy to confuse the average Muslim. Average Muslim can easily fall for their call and can be easily confused between them and the true fighters, the true mujahideen, the true people upon the sunnah. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, even he want to show us this by saying, قَالَ تَحْقِرُونَ صَلَاتَكُمْ إِلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ وَصِيَامَكُمْ إِلَى صِيَامِهِمْ. He said to the companions and to all of us, when we compare our prayers to their prayers, our fastings to their fastings, ours looks like nothing. Yours looks like nothings comparing to them. When Ali ibn Abi Talib decided to fight those people, and he took that decision, some of the companions were so confused. You see how confusing can be for the companions. They were so confused. He said to Ali, كيف تقاتل أناس يقومون الليل يبوتون سجدا وركعا ونحن نبيت نوم يقومون النهار صوم ونحن نفطر كيف تقاتل أناس كهذا? How can you fight people? They spend their nights praying and making dua and reading Quran, and in the morning they are fasting, while we're sleeping in the night and we eat in the morning. How can we fight such people, like so religious, so practicing? Kam yusma', they were in the other side of the river. The Sahaba and Ali's army used to hear they're crying in the night, making dua, praying in the night. They're qunut. The Sahaba, you hear them crying in the night, praying to their Lord. If you read about those people, how they were so religious in a sense, and this is not really religiosity. This is just what appeared to be, this is not what the religion is about. It's about the length of your beard and how long you pray, but you have a corrupt belief, It's so easy to confuse with them because they always raise these banners and they claim these things that everybody can get excited about it, which is fighting against transgressor, the abuser, the dictators. Let's fight. Raf' al-Dhulm. That's exactly what they said 1,400 years ago or 1,350 years ago. That's exactly the same claim that they made. Al-Amr bil-Ma'ruf, Rafi' Ra'at al-Jihad. They said when Abdullah al-Rasibi, he encouraged his people, the Kharijites, to fight the Muslims, to fight the companion, the successors. You know what he used to say to his people? He used to lead his people and give them a speech and said, "Qumu jahidu fi sabilillah." Come, let's give jihad fi sabilillah. And he said, "Ar-rawah, inni la ajidu rih al-jannah." He said, let's go early to paradise. Let's go early to paradise. Isn't this the same claim that it used to recruit people to blow themselves up? Go straight to heavens? Let's go and join? It's the same claim. Let's give an amr of this Umayyads, these Abbasis, these leaders are devils and bad and evil, and there is so much corruption. Let's fight them. That's why a lot of people fall for that, especially when there is so much oppression exists. They claim that they want to follow the Sharia. They want to apply Hukmullah fil ard. That's their number one claim. They said, we are here to make sure that the Sharia will be ruling the people. Isn't that what they said to Ali? Inil hukmu illa lillah. They said to Ali, Allah is the only one who should rule. And we should only rule by the Sharia of Allah, not by your opinion. The same claim you hear today. That we want to apply the Sharia, we want to apply this and that. So they are so dangerous because they can easily confuse people. Because they can have the same color, the same language, the same rhetoric that the Muslim use and the Sunni use. And that's how they get a lot of followers. Number two, they are so dangerous because the Kharijite through the history until today, and especially this group, is always made of young people. جماعة تعتمد على الشباب منذ أول تاريخها. If you look at them from the beginning until today, they're all young people. And subhanallah, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ have mentioned that. He said, قال هم قوم حدثاء الأسنان سفهاء الأحلام. They are young people. That the Prophet ﷺ described them. You know that Khalifa that they claim, he's barely made his 40s. So can you imagine the leader of all of them is just 41 years old? And you talk about the rest of the group, mainly made of young people. You will not find the wise men part of such movement. And it became so dangerous when you have the youth full of energy, and the youth are the future of any nation. Can you imagine if our youth gone? If the youth of the Muslim Ummah are being used to be a fuel for a war, Allah knows where it's going. And what's the goal of it? What will be left for the Ummah to carry and to build their countries and to carry and to build their nations, their legacy? No one. And that's why they are so dangerous. Also, it is one of the most dangerous group لأن أفكار الخوارج من أكثر أفكار الخوارج سرعة في التطور. Their ideologies can develop so quickly, so rapidly, unexpected. They will go from one stage to another. One day, they were just not happy with Uthman as a caliph. They said, you don't know much. And subhanAllah, they're just stubborn. In the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, those groups surrounded Uthman radiallahu anh's house. So they claim that there is a letter was sent by Uthman to his leader in Egypt to execute all these rebels when they come back, after an agreement was made. So Uthman said, this is not my letter. This is someone wrote my name and forged my seal. Do you know what was the answer from this group? They said, look ya Uthman, قالوا إن كان كتابك فقد خنت. If this is really truly your letter, you have betrayed us and you betrayed the Muslims. You give a word that you protect us and we go back to our country, things will change, and now you betrayed us. وإن كان ليس بكتابك فأنت عاجز فقد عجزت. And if this is not your letter, that means someone can forge something in your name. That means you're not a strong leader, you're not a good leader enough to be in charge, because we rebel against you. We gather people from all over the world against you at that time. If you are a true leader, you should have killed us. But because you are a weak leader, you're letting us go back home. So if he kills them, he's a betrayer. If he let them go, he's a weak person and he cannot be a caliph, because caliph has to be a strong man. They said, in either way, you cannot be a khalifa. And you have to be impeached. And by our swords. And believe it or not, in that night, they broke the door, they burned the house, they grabbed him out of his palace, and they stabbed him in his chest, and they killed him, murdered him. Uthman radiallahu anh, the Prophet's son-in-law, the one that the Prophet loved the most, the one that the Malaika shy from him, they killed him. And after this, see how things develop. Then after that, after they finished, they said, إن كان الله أحل لنا ماله فأحل لنا دمه فأحل لنا ماله. If Allah allowed us, give us the permission to kill him, his blood to be spilled, so that also means we can take his money. فسرقوا حتى أقداح بيته. Even the cups, they took it from his kitchen and from his house. Did it stop there? No. Then they said, وَمَالُهُ الَّذِي وُلِّيَ عَلَيْهِ, and the money that he's in charge of. Then they go and they want to take the money from the Muslim treasure. And in that time, Abu Hurairah and the companions, they were with their sword defending the Muslim treasure, the treasury, from them. Things rapidly change. It is from just this governor, this king, this president is kafir, then all of a sudden not only him and his cabinet, then the military, every person in the army, every single person in the interior minister, every person who works with the government, anyone has a government job paid by the government is non-Muslim. Then anybody who doesn't even agree with them is not a Muslim. To the extent one of these Khawarij said, and this is something I read in the book, and I will tell you the ironic thing about it. One of them was walking with his friends, and he said, can you believe the only people who will go to Jannah from our time is me and you? One of the leaders of the Khawarij. So his friend told him, Jannah arduha as-samawat wal-ard li wa lak faqat. قال سأدعها لك وخرج عن مذهبي. He said, يعني Jannah bigger than the heavens and earth for both of us only? He said, doesn't make sense. You know what? I will leave it all for you. And he left the Kharijite opinions. I read this in the book and I said, maybe this is just exaggeration story. Until I met myself, a young man in the 80s. I would never forget that. In the 80s, when we get these guys coming back from Afghanistan, when they used to fight in jihad for Afghanistan. And unfortunately, they went with good intention, but so many of them came back to their country with a very messed up, corrupt ideologies. One of them, and this is personally, I can testify for that. He was telling me in Mecca, and I remember it was Ramadan, the haram is filled with people. Then he said in the khutbah, in Ramadan, and I told him, I hope things change for you and blah, blah, blah. Then he said, I do believe I'm the only Muslim in this whole entire place. And I don't believe that any one of those people, from the Imam all the way to you, is going to Jannah. You are all hatab Jahannam. You are all the fuel of the hellfire. Then he said, yani, at least, yani, what a extreme. And this is something, that's why they are very dangerous. Because their ideologies can go very fast, very rapidly, unexpected. That's why by study, those brothers and sisters who decide to join this group, I just want to tell you, they flip in no time. They just have interest in religion. They start reading here and there, and all of a sudden they just go so fast into this. وَسُبْحَانَ رَبِّي. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم give the best example for them. He said, قال يمرقون من الدين كما تمرق الرمية كما يمرق السهم من الرمية. They are like the bullet. You know, the Prophet ﷺ said when you shoot the arrow and the arrow go through the target and come from the other side, that's how fast they go through the deen. One of them just listen to a lecture, read a book, or go to Awakening a forum, or one of these forums online, and hear talk here and there, think that he became Muslim, and although he knows everything and he can teach you anything about Islam. And quickly goes from one stage to another. That's why one of the things that make them so dangerous, they're not educated about Islam. They don't even spend any time in learning. They are just all about fight, all about actions without knowledge. And when you look at the hadith in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that's describing them, you will be shocked how relevant this to what we see today in this militant group. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and our families from such extreme ideologies. أقول ما سمعتم واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد. Once the Prophet ﷺ was distributing the war booties, then a Bedouin from Yemen, from Bani Tamim, stood up and he said, يا محمد اعدل فإنك لم تعدل. فوالله هذه قسمة لا يراد بها وجه الله. Allahu Akbar. He said, Ya Muhammad, be just and fair in the way you distribute the money. This way of distributing the money is unfair, unjust. He started the sunnah of this objections and standing up and thinking that he's like all off. Now I stand in front of the leader and I can talk, openly against them. With batil, not with haqq. With batil, with falsehood. Then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَيْحَكْ وَمَنْ يَعْدِلْ إِلَّا مْ أَعْدِلْ. What you saying? Who will be just and fair if I'm not just and fair? Umar, وفي رواية Khalid, and maybe both. They said, Ya Rasul, let me take this man's, chop his head off. He said no. Because why the Prophet ﷺ said no? For many reasons. One of it is, if this is the case, it might be an excuse used by every leader in the future. Anyone oppose him, he said, Wayhak. He will start saying, hey, I'm the leader, don't oppose me. The Prophet killed the one opposed. He said no. He want to give that room that people have the right to stand up and to speak up against injustice. But if it's really injustice, and he said, you don't want anyone to say that Muhammad killing his own companions because they just opposed him one day. Then the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يَخْرُجُ مِنْ ضِئْبِئِ هَذَا. Listen carefully. There will come from this man, either literally, they descend from his same tribe, or the same methodology, the same concept that this man had. People will follow it. A people that you will look down upon your salah comparing to their salah. Your fasting comparing to your fast. They read the Quran, but it never goes through their throat. Al-ulama said the Quran in their throat, they only talk. They have no feeling. It doesn't go to their heart because they're emotionless. Inshallah, you don't need to see it. But some of these videos that I see those people, if they have no redeem, at least they don't have emotions. They're emotionless. The violence, the bloody pictures, the bloody language that they use, it is so vicious. But they don't go to their heart, neither go to their brain. No common sense they have. That's why the Quran only goes to the throat, through their throat. Then in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, they exit Islam and they never come back to it. And that's why also study shows us today that most of those who go through rehabilitations and change, at least 30 to 40% of them goes back again to the same way, and even worse, and even worse. He said, if I meet them, I will kill them. I will destroy them, the way Allah destroyed the people of Ad. The Prophet ﷺ said they are the dogs of the hellfire. He said they are the worst people on the face of the earth. The worst. The Prophet ﷺ said they are young in age, have no common sense, have no wisdom. He said they say speech sounds like the speech of the best of you. يَقُولُونَ مِنْ قَوْلِ خَيْرِ الْبَرِيَّةِ. The Prophet ﷺ said they read the Quran, but the Quran does not go beyond their throats. Whenever you meet them, fight them. And there is a reward for those to fight them until the day of judgment. They call people to the book of Allah, but they are not from it. They claim knowledge and they bring issues. يَتَفَقَّرُونَ الْعِلْمَ تَفَقُّرًا. But they have no knowledge. They fight the Muslims and they leave the non-Muslims. 42 suicide missions in Syria made by this group. 42 suicide attack made by this group in Syria. Not a single one of them was against Bashar al-Assad and his group that they claim that they fight. The 42 of them, all of them were against the other Muslims groups, the other civilians, the people who refused to accept them as leaders. Anyway, I will stop here because of the time. But inshallah this Sunday after Salat al-Asr, have a lot to say about this topic and more to discuss why they are popular among our youth. How can we counter their ideologies? How can we protect our society and our community from them? And this is, I will carry that inshallah on Sunday for those who would like to attend. And I'm saying again and again, this is an issue that we have to take it seriously to protect our children, our families, our community from it. You know, it pops here and there, people have questions, so make sure that we take this serious and to educate ourselves about such groups. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us. And also it will be a great opportunity for people to ask, to discuss, to raise. If we don't create an environment where we can talk freely about these issues, and we just kept it hush hush and, you know, under the rug, and that's where they grow. But if we have the ability to speak your mind, come and welcome. And inshallah, I hope, and Sunday, make sure that it's not bugs. So don't worry about government and get in trouble. You know what? It's your right as a person to ask. Nobody ever going to hold you accountable or legally in trouble because you talk. If you break the law, that's where you go in trouble with the government. And that's where you will find all of us as a community, the first people to go against you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-huda wal-tuqa wal-afafa wal-ghina. Oh Allah, guide us. Oh Allah, forgive us. Oh Allah, we ask you to shower us with your mercy. Allahumma arham aba'ana wa ummahatana wa shfi mardana ya hayy ya qayyum warham mawtana wa taqabbal siyamana wa qiyamana wa salli Allahumma wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa qumu lis-salati yarhamkumullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله